Ready to roll. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:07 p.m. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. If you are a guest here, if you wouldn't mind signing the sign-in sheet there and indicating whether or not you want to make a public comment, that would be very helpful. The first item on the agenda is to approve meeting minutes from February 22nd, 2022, which have been previously distributed. Do I hear any corrections or changes to the meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none. Do we have I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 22nd, 2022. Is there a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It passed unanimously. All right, Michelle, you're up.
All right, thank you everyone for signing in. We have one person, Emily, who would like to speak. Welcome.
I'm reading a letter that was shared from Maria Reyes, and I believe she shared it with you all as well, but she asked me to read it at the meeting today. She wrote it in Spanish, and I think there's an English translation that's going to be. So, to the Namaste Board, I'm writing this letter as a parent and a participant in the bilingual committee for the school for the past 3 years. Since my children entered Namaste, we've encountered great challenges in the school, from lack of staff, resignation of teachers, directors, and even problems with the children's lunch, which continues to be a great challenge both for the students as well as for us, the parents. But honestly, they have exceeded our patience with this issue. What I'm not going to settle for and not give up on, no matter how disappointed I am, is the Namaste dual language program. We were offered a first level dual language program for our children, and it is only fair that we fight for what we have been promised, and it would be even fairer that you, as the members of the board, do your job to enforce this. There are not enough certified teachers and no progress plan to meet the goals for this program. There are not enough staff to serve and qualify each student in the program. Teachers continue to lack time to plan lessons that will support the dual language students. There is no consistent tracking of growth for teachers supporting second language and English learners. The plans for dual education classes are in the native language. However, Lucy Calkins is used, but there is no translation of the units into Spanish, this impacts our students. There's no understanding of the program by the director and support for the BAC. As a dual language parent, I feel left behind. Even every time I understand, my parents choose better to not collaborate with us in meetings, simply because they feel that they are not heard or taken into account. An example of this, 2 weeks ago, there was a teachers retreat, and parents from the Parents Ignite were invited, but why only them? Why was the group of parents from the bilingual advisory committee not considered? It is that the curriculum was not discussed, only issues such as discipline, schedule, and culture were discussed. But why is the education of our children not involved in these issues? We are part of the Namaste community, and as such, we continue to work together to achieve the success of our students and children. Please support your students, your school, your students, your teachers, and value them and give them the tools they need to get our children ahead. We do not want more valuable and beloved Namaste staff to continue to leave. Maria Reyes.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, next on the agenda is the state of school. April. You didn't get it?
Did you guys get it?
It just arrived this afternoon, so.
What's that?
A letter. Oh, I got mine. I got forwarded to me. I'll check into it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
No, we just put it. Give it a lot. Not really. My type is wrong. Thanks. I'm sorry. Just going to cover some updates on student enrollment, attendance, recruitment, student recruitment, our current state of our health dashboard, some points from our bilingual audit, our NSQRP update, and just a brief update from operations and the build analysis. So just to recap, from the February board meeting, we had 439 students enrolled. We currently have 449 students enrolled. We've had 15 students enrolled. We've lost had some attrition with that as well. But due to current recruitment efforts, we've been able to get students in over the last month or so. So just highlighting the difference there.
Do those students transfer from other schools in the area, or?
Some from the district, some from out of the district.
Okay.
Majority from Greenwood, and can't think of the school, but majority came from the schools, neighboring schools.
Okay.
April, sorry, did you say there were 15 and you netted out to 10, or?
Yeah. Right.
So 15 new and 5 left, is it?
Yeah. We did have some students that moved out of the district, Indiana, out of the state and out of the district after. So student attendance rates here just gives an update here in regards to the district currently. As of 3:30, the average attendance rate for non-state was 87.2% compared to the district's K-8 at 89.9%. What we did realize from our attendance efforts here is that we did have to do some system cleanup. So we were able to clean up the system. We saw that the majority of the system inaccuracies were due to students who were engaging in two-way instruction. What we noticed is that the students who were engaging in two-way instruction, if they were quarantined for traveling or for COVID or so on and so forth, they could engage in remote learning. Those students who engaged in remote learning that was provided by the coaches, the instructional coaches. The teachers took the attendance, marked them absent, so there had to be some cleanup there in the system. That's still underway, but quite a bit of it has taken place since our last meeting. The coding needs to be updated to virtually present. We have put a spotlight on our attendance MTSS efforts and outlined in terms of next steps to support and through our MTSS process here. From February, the number of student absences, we've seen it, well, at the time of submitting this report, it was 27% decrease in the last board meeting report out. But as of today, we are decreased our number of tier 2 and tier 3 students by 38%. And our attendance rate has gone up just a smidge there, but we'll continue to work on it. So we're continuing to update the system and expect to see additional. We are also highlighting the other side of the attendance with incentives, with our incentive program as well. So we're continuing to do all that we're doing with the multi-tier system of success, student system, MTSS process for attendance. But on the opposite end of that, we have a committee that's dedicated to the incentive piece and incentivizing and supporting families who may need additional support. Additional supports range from transportation needs and calendar needs, etc. So we are incentivizing at the classroom level for daily attendance, the school-wide initiatives, so weekly and monthly attendance. Our recruitment efforts are underway. From our intent to return, families that may have indicated there were 4 students indications that they're not returning for next year. With the exit of our 8th graders and enrollment of our new kindergarten students and other grade levels, we are in need to reach a max goal of enrollment at 485 with a need for 40 more students there. We are continuing with our marketing plan, we've updated our marketing collateral. We have done mailings to the neighborhood zip codes, recruitment ambassadors with our staff and parents, virtual and in-person open houses that have taken place and continue to take place throughout the remainder of the year. And then we also have generated a list of community events, park events, and things of that nature where we will be out kind of canvassing the neighborhoods, doing some grassroots recruiting. We have created a position to support with that. We've also had some staff members volunteer to help as well. And we'll continue along those lines. Our goal of July 31st, giving additional to the students that we've done.
So you did the lottery, and you accepted everyone in the lottery.
Yes.
And then those kids already enrolled.
They're currently, most of them, yes, and they're still currently enrolled.
And so you, in addition to that, so we have 445 students enrolled for next year. Is that what 445 and 485 minus 40? Is that right?
Minus the 8th graders and 20 students.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And 40, you think is achievable? It seems a lot smaller than last month, or last meeting time.
In terms of the goals, yeah. We didn't have as many. We only had, I think, 21 students that were signed up for the lottery. By the time the lottery date, we had 58 that were signed up for the lottery.
So if you're hiring a recruitment coordinator, is that like a temporary position? Is that going to be like an outside firm? Is it
a part-time temporary.
Okay.
I might recommend just having a higher goal because I would ask the question like what is the average number of students that leave over the summer? I don't know that, but I know that a lot of them that we have that a lot.
Like a lot of the enrolled students?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's probably a larger number. I mean, typically when you go through the lotto system, you're going to have some people that
because kids will get like accepted to a magnet school or they'll get accepted to this or whatever and they'll change what they want to do. I think did sixth graders who got into 7th grade, what are those things called? Academic centers. Did you get all of those announcements already? Like for 6th graders that are leaving?
The announcements went out, but we don't have in terms of their intent to return there were not.
Right, but the intent to return you had to turn in before you got the acceptance, right? To the magnet school?
Right, so we have not had any acceptance.
So it might be good to like do a specific ask in that grade level, so that like maybe the advisors or the 6th grade homerooms, however you work it, to say like as a reminder, if you got accepted to a magnet school and you're accepting it, please let us know.
What's the typical lottery date? Huh?
Early March.
And it doesn't really matter, right? Because we were able to take everybody that applied initially. Okay. And so those people have been informed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a live lottery.
Okay. And that's what got us to 445. Yeah.
Overall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a quick update on the health dashboard. Our numbers for COVID as of March 31st continue to be low. This is the number of cases that we've had.
I wondered if you could go more decimal points out.
This is a good thing. English learners program review, which is the bilingual audit, and our findings were high. There are a number of challenges that are facing us now. I'll go into that later, but teacher certification is one of them. Having teachers have the correct certification. New team members, we did, because we don't have a number of certified teachers, respectfully, in the program, and those teachers are tenured into our school currently. Created positions that help to service the current oversight of the program as well as service the students. And so brought in a coaching coordinator and a LPT teacher. We're new to the program this year, not making any excuses, but there's a lot of work that we have to do. We've done a lot of things in our program. There's a lot more work that we have to do. We also spent some time in review and going through every indicator on the audit, and some things were subjective, and so we want to make sure we have clarification and lead us around the correct submission on those things, so it's going to be CCS because that's some of audit findings. We also met at the team to review and the measure by measure, and we did identify the next steps for improvement.
Jim, you sent out the audit, right?
Correct.
The results.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think it would be helpful for the board if April, you could just kind of simplify for us kind of where that puts us. So we had the audit, we were not successful with the audit, right? So what kind of a status does that put us into? Why does that status matter? And then what's the remedy? I mean, I'm not looking for the total game plan, but I mean, is this a big thing that's going to take us years to dig out of, or is it something that is more directly remedied through some specific actions over a short period of time?
I think that it's going to take us some time to get out of it, to do some corrective action. Teacher certification is the biggest portion. And so either we, the current teachers that are there, if they're returning to those positions, we need to put them into other positions if they're available, or if they're off, if they're not available, or hire those who are certified to run the program, or what we've been trying to do is to get teachers into the program and to get them emergency and temporary certifications so that they can be in compliance with running the program. Just to kind of give a breakdown for perspective is that so we noticed that we had students that were not being serviced. So coming in, noticed that the students were not being serviced. The teacher certification was a problem. So what we did is to make sure that students were getting service is to bring in a bilingual coaching coordinator position to oversee the program, as well as an English language proficiency teacher that could service our children. These are things that we did not have in place prior to. So we brought in those two positions to oversee the instructional model, the compliance, the curriculum, and the services of the children. And so students started to get the services that they need. So this is the progress that we're making toward ensuring that students are getting the services that they need on the ground. So the attempt here is to ensure that we have proper staffing for oversight and service of the students, ensure that the team complete all the required training and courses. OSA also provides us with a liaison here at the school, and so we were meeting regularly with that liaison to identify our gaps. And then we noticed that with the audit, we also had historically, so a couple of big things. We noticed that the system itself, from every child that's been here, kindergarten to 8th grade, that there was data entry errors in the system. And so with those data entry errors, all of that needs to be cleaned up. All of the files need to be cleaned up as well. The focus this year was on the current student files. So a quick fix for that is that we talked about bringing in someone over the summer to do the data entry into the system, to update the system, as well as get all of the historical files up to date and compliance as well. so that when we go into next year, we'll be fresher, and have a better start to the system. So those are
So while we're in the status of having not passed the audit, what are we now prevented from doing something? I mean, what is that? Does that practically change what we do on the ground every day, or not?
but audit status.
Yeah, the fact that we did not pass this audit.
Not
Are we prevented? Are we suspended from teaching Spanish to anybody? Are we?
No,
What
they
does
have
it
not
mean?
discontinued the program or, sanctioned us, so to speak.
Yeah.
The recommendation is that there's always improvement in the program and that we comply with the indicators that were indicated that we were not in compliance and that we get up to compliance.
I guess I'm trying to understand, is it a technical compliance thing, or is it not that you should fail for any reason, but I mean, what does it mean for our day-to-day bilingual program? Does it change that in any way?
The audit?
The fact that we did not pass the audit.
No, we did not. I don't think it changes our day-to-day program. I think we're not answering that question. I think it just signifies that we need to improve our program.
Improve it.
So can we go back to the certifications? How many teachers are involved kind of in that population, and how many are we worried about getting certified?
There are 11 teachers that are involved, and I want to say there are 6.
So when you hire for that, what's the time frame in terms of when you begin the hiring process and when you fill a position, and how many candidates do you usually get for a position?
It was low. We don't really get a lot of candidates in regards to interest and also being correctly certified. And so we had to hire some individuals with the intent that they need to get emergency or temporary licensures to be able to serve.
So how long does certification take? If there was a teacher that wasn't certified, how long would it take you to become certified?
There are emergency certification. They can take a test, and that would take a couple months for emergency certification. Okay. If not, they could get into a master's certification program. To also update their certification.
So the master's level program, is that like a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year program?
16 months.
16 months, okay. And then how long is the emergency certification good for?
5 years.
5 years, okay.
How long did that take?
It's a matter of taking an assessment, applying, taking an assessment, and passing it.
I thought we talked about this last time we do, where you don't have a competitive salary for those positions.
The targeting unit position. And they're under the current,
So we don't have we're in the process, we talked about the closed session, about where we are in the process of, so there's nothing for next year. It's only for, right, the people right now that are in the position. We don't have a contract for next year.
Is everybody of the non-certified teachers, is everybody willing to do the emergency certification or the go into a master's program?
we come to sign individuals up. We've also paid for them to take the assessment. And then there are some that need to update their documents through Indeed. So this one has been working with them to try and get their updates completed. And there are some that need to get into the system.
What are the next steps with CPS? And so you're contesting the audit findings, and so let's say CPS comes back and says, okay, we agree with you on some, we don't agree with you on others. So then what are the next steps to show improvement in the audit? Do we need to wait another year for an audit? Are there interim steps that we can take and say, hey, we met the specific areas that have the high findings?
So if we do go and they accept some of the contested items, then they will provide updates to the current audit, rate. But if not, we need to work throughout the issue.
Okay, so the next time that we would be re-audited will be 1 year. So they're not requiring, because we had a high level of findings, they're not requiring like an interim audit or anything along those lines. It's just 1 year.
If they assign a school liaison to us, we'll say to work with us to put steps in place to improve. So just a brief update in regards to SQRP. That has been our school quality rating system that we've had in place previously. In the midst of the pandemic, we have not had a rating. We've had a carryover rating for our school of 2. But Chicago Public Schools had launched the Accountability Redesign Initiative last February. And so it's got a lot of key stakeholders coming together to evaluate and redesign the system. So CPS staff presented at this board meeting in February that they're going to present timelines for when this will occur. And so some of the things they will agree on and vote on right then and there, and there are some things that will outstanding that they still have to plan for, and they will come up with some basic timelines for when that will be done. We'll mark a major milestone in the project. They'll finalize some characteristics for future accountability systems, and then they'll define the deadline.
Hello, this is Eric.
Hey, Eric, you're on the speakerphone here.
Oh, awesome.
Hopefully you can hear.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure how well you're going to hear, but it's the best we can do.
That's okay. I'll take what I can get. Thank you.
Okay. This is Eric.
So just to reiterate that there won't be a rating for next year.
We have a carryover rating, or we have no rating?
Well, it's still the same rating from before, but they're not using the term in terms of carryover. They're saying that right now there's no rating.
Oh, no rating?
They're not counting it as a rating, but they're looking to this new So we're still
Kind of like
we're still left at a 2 from 3 years
kind
ago.
of thing?
And then the last thing is just to give an update on the operations for the building analysis. We met with Terracon, this year architect who came out and did the property conditions assessment. He went on vacation, so he was supposed to give it to me before he went on vacation, but our time frame was to have it by the May meeting here. So he's wrapped up the final report. So he is ready to get that to us. The areas identified as the areas that he looked into while he was on site. He'll give us 5, 10, and 15 projections that we get as well. When we did the walkthrough, we didn't find anything really alarming to what he stated. So the only big thing was maybe the HVAC system for some of the units coming to end of life. So he'll still have each of the units and how we can also maybe condense and also bring in some more efficient systems, put more efficient systems in place that can save us time and money over as well. So that'll be included in the final count.
Jim, we were going to review that at the Finance Committee, which is a week before the board meeting on April 3rd. Is that okay, or do you want to take another path with it?
May 3rd?
Pardon?
May?
Yeah, May.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, as far as the final report?
Well, we were going to look at the report in the Finance Committee and then bring it
Yeah,
to the.
I think that makes the most
Bring it
sense.
to May, where we'll have the preliminary budget discussion, and I mean, unless we want to throw it out to everybody.
I think you could always throw the report out, but I was gonna ask if we could ask him to have the report ready for the Finance Committee meeting. What I think would be helpful to do at the May meeting is create a facilities fund where we restrict some of our money to a facilities fund that is used in a certain period of time for the identified issue.
Yeah, so you, well, I won't get too far into this, but we'll talk about the investment portfolio later.
Yeah.
And are you thinking out of that portfolio or out of operating revenue?
Maybe both.
Okay.
It depends on the findings, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's no immediate repairs, so he didn't indicate the beginning of immediate repairs, okay?
Okay.
I'm happy to look at that also, because that's actually part of what I do for a living. So if you want me to take a look at the PCA, I'm happy to take a look at it and see if there's anything to it.
I just poured over to the
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear, the immediate repairs is the big thing. But, there's stuff coming down the line, so you could probably spell it out over the 10-year period as far as the work that needs to be done. Okay.
I think it'll inform a lot of things we probably want to do with the board, like a facility fund, like a renegotiation with the archdiocese of what else they're going to kick in, right? Or like stuff like that.
Yep.
So I think that would be really helpful for a lot of reasons, if we could do it, at the main. We do some fund restriction at the main.
Right.
And maybe a lease review with the archdiocese, the current lease that we have in place.
Yes.
Just to see, what CapEx they're responsible for, what we're responsible for.
I think they're responsible for anything, are they?
We're responsible for some stuff, not
Okay.
floors, walls, ceilings, what I remember. But we do have a balloon payment for the roof in the last 10 years, I believe. So, which
The whole thing needs to be
starts in 2027, so not that far away.
Okay, so just to clarify, that report will be available when?
I'm going to reach out to him again this week. He's been on vacation.
Okay.
But he said
Sometime
it's
in the next
complete.
couple weeks.
Yeah. Well before that.
Okay, great. Thank you, April. It's my pleasure now to introduce John Sulu. John, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of background, after speaking, John will be joining us as Kellogg Board Fellow. Dr. sitting next to Vanessa, who is our first Kellogg Board Fellow, and so we're excited to have him aboard. He will be acting as a non-voting board member and will attend all the board meetings. And so, John, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just tell a little bit about yourself and whatever you'd like, whatever makes you more comfortable.
Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is John. If you have read on the document, it's GAN because it's a Turkish name and we have a funky pronunciation. But yeah, I'm very happy to be here and also to take it over from Vanessa, who has been really efficient as far as I understood from the meeting minutes and our previous conversation. So far, we are still in the process of determining what will be my role working with the Namaste board. Just a brief background about myself. So, as Vanessa, I'm in the Northwestern Kellogg MBA program. I'm in my first year. So I'll have one more year. Before this, I have worked as a consultant with MasterCard in Istanbul, Turkey. And currently I'm interning with the Chicago-based VC fund. So in some analytics, consulting, and venture capital experience that I'm bringing with. I also had a startup in the education team back in Turkey. So all in all, I think I am at a place that I'm very comfortable with in terms of the bilingual speak. I also speak upper intermediate level Spanish. So I think it's been a good.
Are you certified?
Yeah, it was great.
We have openings here.
So I hope we'll have a productive, fruitful working relationship. So thanks again for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Vanessa?
So I believe I have the right to. So first of all, just thank you all so much for welcoming me into the Namaste family for the past year or so. I came into Kellogg really wanting to get exposure to sort of the operation side of education, running a school, what kind of goes on behind closed doors. I certainly received that, so thank you. I was looking at my Kellogg application letter, and I called out wanting to join Board Fellows, so thank you all for allowing me to sort of fulfill that and experience education from a way that I was never able to in prior roles. So I just want to take a few minutes here to share with you all what I've been doing for the past year, and hopefully some of the impact that really Catherine Nelson and I have started to make and where we see it going in the future. So April, if you want to go to the next slide. I just wanted to kind of walk you through my project, starting with the objective and what we hope to achieve through this program. So these are pretty dense slides. I can send them out to you all after the event, after the meeting. But essentially, coming in and joining the board last year with some early conversations with Allison, the objective was really to increase engagement within the school community through kind of new ways of board service, not just for what we think of as traditional board members, or people who are, a number of years into their career, but really Namaste alumni, because the first couple of graduating classes are all entering adulthood now, which offers a really unique opportunity for them to get involved in the community in a way that, maybe wasn't possible the first 5 years of the school's creation. So really this core problem is, how does Namaste continue to foster that sense of community after students have graduated, keep them involved? And conversations quickly realized that graduates of Namaste tend to fall into one of two camps. Either one, they've left the school, they've succeeded, they've transitioned to adulthood really smoothly, they're thriving, and they want to get back to the school. The second option is students who had such a great experience at Namaste, it's almost been hard to top for them. They're missing that sense of community. They're missing maybe those smaller classes, that little bit of extra support, and can use that mentorship. And so really the vision and sort of the best way to continue to support students, be able to offer ways for students who are maybe at a position in their personal and professional lives to support the school was through this creation of an alumni board, essentially an advisory board of former students who had entered early adulthood, too young for the associate board, really with the goal that this would not only showcase the talents of these students, but also hopefully serve as sort of a pipeline for where you are all sitting. I mean, how cool would it be to have someone who went K through 8 here to be on the board in the future? And I think that the perspective those students bring is just incredible. So we'll walk through timeline, but essentially through execution, really started working in spring 2021 with Catherine Nelson to reach out to every student who was eligible to join the alumni board. I called over 200 students. My boyfriend heard the script of me calling. He said he can call students from Namaste too, because he knows my pitch to join the board, and really built out sort of the framework for an alumni board. So again, I cannot give enough props. Thanks to Catherine Nelson, we built the board focused on 3 pillars: alumni engagement, school service, and fundraising. We figured if you're new to sort of the world of board service, these are 3 really easily identifiable things to focus on and sort of, ways to get engaged and what we want the board to focus on. So I wanted to call it a few fast facts because I am not as much of a numbers person as John, but I feel like it's always helpful to have numbers. Completed over 247 calls. 67% of the graduating classes that are eligible to sit on the alumni board do sit there. So we have great kind of representation from people, class of 2013 onward. 8 core members of the board, and then 3 people who I believe cried at the alumni board kickoff, Catherine, Allison, and myself, because we were so touched and happy. And I mean, this community is awesome. I quickly was brought to the fold. I see how close-knit everyone was, and there are some students in the alumni board who I feel like I can learn professional speaking 101 from, and it was just really awesome to sort of see them blossom in this. So April, if you could just flick to the next slide, I can quickly take you all through a little bit of timeline. As we mentioned, really started the vision and the call through spring and summer. September 21, we held our first alumni board featuring Allison as our guest speaker. And then I just want to call out some really cool things that have happened at the board meeting since. And, you know, when Allison and I originally met and she shared this meeting for an alumni board, I have to be honest, I was a little concerned, like, what if nobody shows up? What if this takes all year to make happen? But I think this was such a success that not only were we able to implement it, but now I have all these cool anecdotes to share with you all. So October 2021, Oscar Pena, class of 2013, gave us an awesome presentation on Fundraising 101. I wish I would have recorded it to say it with you all. It was so inspiring. I think, you know, he just really energized the group for that fundraising. November, the alumni board first met with the associate board, and most of you then too, just kind of really making that connection towards board service. December, January, more focused on fundraising, and then Nika Ganesh, class of 2015, actually is taking over sort of this liaison position I've served with Catherine to run the board, take meeting minutes until September, when we will hold the first elections for the alumni board, and then fingers and toes crossed, starting to do some in-person activity planning for the spring, especially as we've heard a lot of some of the students have, you know, maybe struggled with a missing sense of community during those years of the pandemic, really hoping to showcase close connections. Just a little call out at the bottom. I also had the opportunity in December to work with Jim on some of the board member recruitment projects. That is still ongoing, but just a really cool way to sort of see a difference behind the scenes of the board. So if we go to the last slide then, this is kind of like what I would say is my report card on myself or outcomes and impact. Kind of some of the different initiatives we looked at, their outcomes, what we hope they're doing, and then the status. You know, really my project is a living, breathing thing. Like, it doesn't just end when I end, sort of passing on the keys to the castle. Again, you all can read this. We have the pillars for engagement. We really exceeded the idea of just establishing a board, but now have moved on to sort of this, what does the future look like at Namaste? And I think in the far right corner, that is really what's critical to fulfill the initial vision, which is preparing this board for future leadership. We have such great interest in the board. We have students who see board service as a part of their adulthood life. They're engaged. They understand that this is a monthly cadence of meetings. They're learning parliamentary procedures. They're learning what do meeting minutes look like. What does it mean to reach a fundraising target? What does it mean to go to my boss for the first time and ask for a $100 match? And hey, that's kind of easy. Why don't I ask for a $200 match? So just really establishing that pipeline for board service. And again, all of these are ongoing, but I think that's a good thing because we want the alumni board to really continue. And then April, so to the last slide, just some huge special thank yous. Obviously, Allison and Jim, thank you both so much for serving as such awesome mentors and touch points for all things Namaste. Allison, you're such an inspiration from the education world. Thank you for answering my many questions at the start, and Jim, as we got going. And then she's not here, but please give your huge thanks to Catherine Nelson. This woman is incredible. She does so much. I got to really see what she does behind the scenes as an educator. She is amazing. She is always on meetings, always on calls, answering my questions. She's really sort of been my alumni board partner in crime, and I'm just like, I count her as like a mentor and a friend, and I'm really sad to not meet with her on a weekly basis anymore. But thank you again to the board. It's been a wonderful experience. You're in great hands with John, and I just like can't wait to see all the cool things Namaste does in the future. So thank you all so much. Any questions? Oh yeah, I'm happy to open it up to questions.
So what can you tell us that we should be doing with that board?
Yeah, so I think a huge way that they're going to be a massive benefit to you all is for middle school engagement and making sure that there is not a gap of students who are in middle school during the pandemic and are sort of leaving Namaste with a less than positive memory, because you want those middle school students to be the future alumni board, associate board, the fundraisers, and showing them how you can still sort of see the positive of the school, even though maybe COVID has changed perception of what middle school should look like. I think The alumni board is also incredibly happy to get involved with the school service piece of the board of the pillars, which honestly has been a little bit limited because of COVID and the pandemic. So I think getting them into the classrooms, mentoring at the middle school level will be huge just for creating, you know, great sort of tethers back to Namaste when these students enter early young adulthood.
Is it sort of moving on its own inertia, or is Ms. Nelson pushing it? Talk a little bit about that.
Moving on its own inertia, honestly. Like Mika reminds me a ton of myself, so I think she's really taking it and running with it. I think if anything, the alumni board is energized by the idea of, like I mentioned, getting to see students and getting back into school. Catherine is definitely still handling the sort of like administrative pieces, and we've all kind of struggled a little bit with using Google Docs, so shout out to you all who use Google Docs on a regular basis. But the board has really done a great job of recruiting other people. That was the biggest takeaway to me when they started recruiting their peers who didn't answer my calls when I first called, but then once the former classmates called, they've been all in.
They're probably all connected with each other now via text, right?
They're
all text groups.
Yeah. I learned not Facebook. That's not cool. But yeah. Instagram and Snapchat, they're all still in each other's lives, and they can really tap into each other. And we're going to make a big push on Instagram soon to showcase the board and kind of flag for people, hey, this is what we're doing. You know, get even some more fresh faces in there.
I guess I would just say, if any of us can be a resource to any of them or whatever, that we should.
Absolutely.
There's some way that we could offer that up through, I don't know what's the best way, through.
Yeah, so I think right now the alumni board has been mainly leaning on the associate board as a resource, just to see that as sort of the next logical step. But I think it would be really cool if maybe they could come listen in, even if just like the state of the school or something, or one of you could maybe come be a guest speaker at the alumni board. That would be really cool. I think, what they're looking to get out of the experience too is just that professionalism piece. So things that I think you all take for granted in your day-to-day job, like they want to hear about that. Like, how are you using Excel? How are you networking? How are you asking for donations? That would be huge. And now that I'm saying this out loud, I'll definitely talk to Catherine about maybe getting some of you to join via Zoom or some of the future meetings.
Well, on behalf of the board, we want to give you a little token of our appreciation. I will say, Vanessa kicked this project out of the park. Most people know I have a lot of ideas, like maybe 2% of them come to fruition, and she actually believes that this idea is a good idea, and really went way beyond. So we got you this bag for your new life in San Francisco, and it's filled with a few things for San Francisco, but mostly things about Namaste, so you don't forget us.
I could never.
Something for you to use when you get there for your.
So much, Allison. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you all so much. This is super kind. And I told Allison, I told my fiance, if we have kids and I move back to Chicago, we can try to send them to Namaste. It's a good endorsement.
Well, you have to move back before you get too soft out there.
Yeah,
I know. I mean, the weather
she's got some flip-flops in the bag that have Namaste on them, so she's not going to forget about us.
I know. That first Christmas bag, I know it's going to be a shock.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
Michelle?
Now we're going into closed session. So, all of you who are guests, we're going to ask you to leave. If you would like to stay around, we will come out of closed session. If you want to go wait somewhere in the school, you're certainly welcome to, but certainly not necessary. And we can come find you, but we're going to go into closed session. Vanessa, thank you again.
Thank you all so much.
I'm sure I'll see you
soon. Again, a plug. I'm sure Catherine will reach out to you, but the Associate Board fundraiser is coming up. So if you're looking for something
encourage you to move this to May in any way?
So the finance committee is just working to update the investment policy. Actually, Bernstein's been providing some really good input, but at some point in time, we need to have a conversation as a board, and it kind of ties into what you talked about earlier in terms of why do we have this $1.6 million, and how do we want it invested, and what is it going to be used for? And those things all tie together in terms of, timing, right? So, the market's been a little weak. We're invested fairly aggressively, to the point where you don't want to be finding a need to use those funds on a sort of short-term basis because they're not invested for short-term use. So if we're going to use those funds for a capital, I haven't seen the capital improvement. I don't know if it's $5,000 or $5 million, but if some of it is going to be used for that over time, we're going to want to position those investments to be available for that, if it can't be paid out of operating funds. And also then we want to think about, are there other uses for those funds? And one of the things we've thrown out is that, do we want to fund this alumni committee in some sort of regular way? So one of the ways to do that might be to carve out a piece of that $1.5 million and put it into a fund that is more designed to be able to be used on a shorter term basis without jeopardizing returns, if the market's going up and down. So just think about things like that, a more purposeful use of the investments that we have, rather than they're just there, growing or not shrinking too much, hopefully.
How much debt do we have left?
No debt.
None?
No debt.
So I guess a large part of that's going to really be driven by that PCA.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big part of it.
Okay. So maybe at the next meeting,
Yeah,
if you have your finance, you'll come up with a proposal, and then we can look at the allocations at that point.
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Excellent. Any other finance?
No. I mean, we're operating per the budget, and we're meeting all our financial metrics. So we're operating well.
I guess audit.
I have no reason to believe that the audit is not. Last year we were fine. I don't see any reason why we can't be that way again. But we'll need somebody to quarterback that internally. Frankly, I think Danny did a lot of it last year. But yeah, we'll need to have somebody on.
We may want to think about having a conversation with Danny at some point.
Yeah, I can talk to him. He's got other clients, but sure. Yeah. And frankly, I think he did more. Well, I think Vanessa or Rosie handled the internal, the pre-audit internal stuff.
The finance stuff or the compliance?
No, the compliance. But yeah, I'll call Orba and see who they were really working with last year.
Are there anything else for finance?
No.
Allison, development?
I sent the development update. I do think it's important to read when you have a chance. I think we are having 2 spring events. All the information is linked in. They're all packets. So there is a sponsorship packet for the event. It's June 2nd. The place called Park and Field, like in a bar that has like big outdoor space on the north side. It's in Logan Square.
I thought that was alumni board.
It's the associate board with support by the alumni board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're soliciting sponsorships. The information is in there. They're low-level sponsorships. So, like Jim was saying, he would, talk to where he works if you know people that would sponsor at that level. Raffle items, because we're not doing a silent auction or a live auction, but we are selling raffle tickets there. So if you go to a nail salon or a restaurant or wherever that would donate anything, the more the merrier, right? In terms of raffle prizes. And we'll make like little baskets and stuff like that.
Are you think they're looking more for gift cards or more for like basket type items for that?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Takeaway, not an appointment to go somewhere.
Well, you can, like, if a yoga class, a massage, or this or that, yeah. Like tickets to events sell good, like stuff like that. So it's going to be like that style where like the prizes will be out and there's like a bucket and you put your ticket in the bucket of the prize you want to win, that kind of thing.
Yep. Okay.
So the more prizes, the better, because then when there's a bucket with nothing in it, people want to buy a ticket just to win that, because winning matters, I guess, right?
And then, when can we buy tickets for the event?
It's gonna go live. So one of the alumni is actually making the flyer, and it should go live sometime next week. So I'll send it to the board.
Yeah.
It's $75. I mean, it's going to be a younger crowd. I'll go to see Vanessa, but she'll be there, so that would be good. So that's that event. And then we are doing Team Namaste again. So I did register already, but in the deck has the information on how to register. So remember, we're not doing like an organized run. You figure out where you're going to run your 3.1 miles, your 5K. And it's Memorial Day weekend. You use the fundraising page to raise money for the whole team. We're trying to raise $10,000 for the team. And then just consider your own year-end gift and soliciting year-end gifts from others. So we are going to do a fiscal year-end letter again. If anyone has additional names, or that's a good time to make a gift to the school. I did include on slide 4 we raised $10,646 from the December campaign, the year-end campaign. So, and you can see all the people that are there, and they're pretty old supporters. It's pretty old folks on there. So, I think the more the merrier in terms of adding names, right, to making year-end gifts. And someone from our alumni board raised $100. So that was from someone she works with.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, anything else for development?
Nope.
All right. So I'd like to make a motion, as long as there's no other business, that we adjourn the meeting at 9:31 p.m. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Eric? Aye. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you all. Let me go shut off that.
Thank you.
So for that drone